Hello, this is Philip Caetano Costa with the news on Zodiac coming up at this hour. Government says at least 206 motorcycle operators have died on the road this year alone. MCG organizes demos this Thursday in the push to stop President Chakwera from assenting to a labor relations bill. Malawi and Zimbabwe signed a memorandum of understanding aimed at enhancing trade between the two nations. And Tobacco Commission says this year's tobacco markets will close month-end. Now the news in detail. Government says at least 206 motorcycle operators have died on the road this year alone, adding that it is alarmed by such a figure. Minister of Homeland Security Richard Chimwendo Banda disclosed this Monday in Lilongwe when he engaged the operators, where he indicated that government will not compromise on the lives of its citizens. Meanwhile, one of the operators, Tonex Yakobe from Blantyre, has said that they have agreed with the outcome of the meeting, among which is using crash helmets, getting provisional licenses in 1 month, and permanent licenses as well as insurance in the next 6 months. We have a report filed by Western Guta.
This engagement meeting is after a period of ongoing clashes between Kabaza operators and police confiscation of over 20,000 motorbikes for non-compliance of road traffic regulations. Members of Parliament intervened on the matter, where in a response to the queries by the members of the House, Minister of Homeland Security Richard Chimwendo Banda said starting from 13 July, police will give back to the Kabaza operators all the confiscated motorbikes, which are now 7,821 in various police posts across the country. In preparation for this, the Minister and the Malawi Police Service made the operators' representatives to agree that they have to register, insure, and get licenses for their bikes within 6 months.
The idea is that we should move together. We have agreed. It was very important that they understood our position. We also understood their challenges. But as we have seen, I think the meeting has ended up very well. They are well convinced and they will be able to take the message to their fellow friends.
Inspector General of Police George Kainja is expecting that the operators will adhere to this agreement, saying failure to do so after the 6 months period, there shall be no mercy.
Sometimes we need to engage and perhaps find a common solution. Like you've seen today, we have found a common solution because we've been able to engage the Kabaza people. But it has also given us a leeway in terms of us having an opportunity to formalize the leadership of Kabaza people. Going forward, it will be easier for us to deal with the problems that have always been there because we'll be engaging the right people. You may recall that we had so many associations all over the country, but now that we'll formalize, we'll have one association, it will be easier for us to do our job as police officers.
Of late, figures of road accidents involving the Kabaza operators have been on the rise, and government has been saying that it will prioritize protecting people's lives than votes. As such, it will force all the operators to follow road traffic safety measures. Reporting for Zodiac, this is Western Guta.
Some residents in Mzuzu say the current polio vaccination being administered to children born from January 2016 to September 2018 has brought confusion, which has caused some parents to hesitate having their children vaccinated. The parents have since asked authorities to intensify awareness on the exercise that should include the type of the vaccine and doses one should access. Mzimba North Director of Health and Social Services spokesperson Lovemo Kabai said it was too early to determine how parents were responding to the vaccine. Tora Kumwenda has the details.
A visit to some sites where polio vaccine is being administered in Mzuzu, some parents say they do not understand the injectable vaccine currently being administered, thinking their children already got the vaccine, as health passports of their wards indicate that they got 0, 1, 2 and 3 of the oral polio vaccine. The injectable polio vaccine, which is meant to be administered together with the 4th dose of the oral vaccine, was not given, hence this exercise, and this is according to some health officers we spoke with. One of the parents, Oscar Limoni, has since asked that authorities intensify awareness to clear confusion surrounding the vaccination campaign for more parents to understand the whole process.
I would like to urge government to work hand in hand with the chiefs, religious leaders, and the owners of schools, both private and public institutions, so that they should disseminate this information to the masses, to the parents.
Spokesperson for Director of Health and Social Services for Nzimba North, Love Mokawaye, says it is too early to determine if the reception won't be as anticipated.
At each and every site, they already mapped these children. They know who they are targeting. And as such, what will happen is that each site will have to look at its data at the end of the day. If they haven't vaccinated many children during this first day, then we will see how best we can change the strategy.
The polio vaccine campaign, which will be administered from Monday to Wednesday, targets children born from January 2016 to September 2018. For Zodiak in Mzuzu, I'm Doera Kumwinda.
Human rights activists have urged government to revise its plan to relocate all refugees and asylum seekers back to Zodiak camp amidst the rising number of COVID-19 cases in the country. Michael Kayata, who is Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation, CHRR Executive Director, said they will make sure that people are protected at all costs, especially in the COVID-19 pandemic, therefore calling for the government to rethink its order. Another activist, Clemens Alfazema, says the government should look into the damages the country will go through if this was implemented. Zuleika Nanguo has filed this report.
Following an order from the government early April this year that all refugees and asylum seekers must relocate to Zodiak refugees camp, some refugees and asylum seekers sought court intervention on the matter and were granted an injunction. Now the issue is resurfacing. According to Executive Director for Center for Human Rights and Rehabilitation, Michael Kayata, with the rising COVID-19 cases in the country and particularly at the camp. The camp has over 20 COVID-19 refugees, including 11 children. He says it would not be a wise move for the government to implement the decision should the cost determination go their way.
It is clear that the cases there are rising, which is posing a risk to refugees that are living in the camp. So this is the right time for government to implement its order, and it's also not the right time for the court to make such a declaration. Congestion is one of the factors facilitating the spread of COVID-19.
A human rights activist, Clemens Alfazema, says human rights organizations should continue to engage the government on how best to implement this intended plan without violating human rights.
The situation of COVID, cramming people in one place like that will not be good for them. So when we talk about right to life, we consider the rights to life for both our own citizens as well as those of our friends who have come from other countries.
As it stands, official figures from that Zodiak refugee camp has about 50,000 people, but it was originally made for 14,000 people in the early 1990s. Currently, government estimates that about 2,000 refugees and asylum seekers are living outside the camp, but some dispute this, saying the figure is underreported.
The Malawi Congress of Trade Unions, NCTU, said its members would take to the streets in nationwide demonstrations on Thursday, July 15, demanding that President Lazarus Chakwera should not assent to the controversial labor relations bill which Parliament passed a few days ago. MCTU Secretary General Madali Sunjola-Mole told us this morning that they have organized their demonstrations in such a way that all COVID-19 preventive measures put in place by this presidential task force will be followed. Mike Mgemezulu has filed a report.
Last week, Parliament passed the Labour Relations Amendment Bill, which the President, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, is expected to assent to within 21 days. The development has not gone down well with several groups, such as the Malawi Congress of Trade Unions, MCTU. Now, MCTU says all is set to hold nationwide demonstrations on Thursday, aimed at pleading with President Lazarus Chakwera not to assent to the bill. Union's General Secretary Madali Sunjola-Mole told Zodiak that the union is against the bill because it infringes the rights of workers. Njolo-Mole further said COVID-19 preventive measures will be followed during the protests.
In all our demonstration places, we are going to have some other control measures. As we are aware that on our places, we also encourage to put on a face mask, and you have received a lot of hand sanitizers. And this will be also the order of the day this coming Thursday.
Meanwhile, legal expert Sunduzwayo Madisa said despite MCTU members having a constitutional right to hold the demonstrations, the way forward on the bill still remains with the president.
As a trade union, they are not happy with the bill that was passed, and they will be lobbying the president so that he doesn't sign it. So the issue is much into the lobbying or political arena and not so much the legal arena. It will be up to the president ultimately whether to accede to the bill or not.
Government is yet to comment on the matter. Among others, the bill gives powers to the employers to deduct employees' wages when on strike.
The Malawi Revenue Authority has in the just ended fiscal year suspended 13 officers for lacking integrity in discharging duties. Head of Corporate Affairs for the authority, Steve Kapoloma, says actions that have cost some of the officers their jobs include soliciting money from taxpayers to be offered a service that is supposed to be free. MRA concedes that lack of knowledge on tax matters is among contributing factors fueling dishonest practices on the part of officials from the authority and non-compliance on the part of taxpayers in the country. Pilani Dambara filed this report.
Among the pillars for the tax collecting body to achieve goals in its 5-year corporate strategic plan is rebranding for people to look at the institution positively and comply on taxation matters. Its Commissioner General, Mr. John Biswick, concedes that there are a few bad apples whose lack of integrity dents the image of MRA and in the end impacts on taxpayers' compliance. In the 2020-2021 fiscal year, the authority says 13 members of staff were dismissed for lacking integrity in handling taxation matters. MRA's Head of Corporate Affairs, Mr. Stephen Kapoloma, says some officers take advantage of people's ignorance to demand money from taxpayers for provision of services that are free. The authority nonetheless says it managed to beat its 1.079 trillion kwacha revenue target for the year 2020-2021 with an excess of 28.7 billion kwacha. In the 2021-2022 fiscal year, the tax collecting body has been given a revenue target of 1.033 trillion kwacha. Pilantambala, ZBS News, Lirongwe.
You're watching the news here on Zodiac. We'll be back with more after this.
We all start differently, but we can all start with the strongest protection. Because some start early, others start late. Some from little homes, others from big ones. Some start together, or all on their own.
It doesn't matter how you start, as long as you start strong. With new Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection. Now with fluoride plus arginine for 4 times more strengthening power. So that you can give them the strongest start to their day. Colgate. Start strong, stay strong.
Ndinaluza akazi anga atadwala paka nthawi kochepa. Zitachitika izi ndinapita ku CIC amene amapanga kava pa nkhani ya zovuta ngati zimenezi.
Musakhale ndi nkhawa kuti banja lanu lidzagwiranji inu mutamwalira. Ngati muli pa gulu la kuntchito kapena ku nyumba, mungathe kugula Kangachepe Group Funeral Plan polipira ndalama zosachepera 2,000 kwacha kwa munthu wamkulu komanso 1,000 kwacha kwa mwana pa chaka. Ndipo banja lanu lidzapatsidwa chipepeso chosachepera 100,000 kwacha kuti lithandizike mu nthawi ya zovuta.
Akuluakulu aku CIC anabwera mwachangu ku zovutazi ndi kudzapereka thandizo la ndalama limene linathandizira kwambiri pa zovuta za malemu akazi anga.
Mukafuna kudziwa zambiri, imbani foni pa nambala iyi. Kapena bwerani kuma office a CIC Life Assurance Limited kulilongwe kapena ku Blantyre.
Ndipo ndikupempha azanga nonse amene sinajoine kuti tipite tikajoine policy imeneyi ya Kangachepe funeral cover ku CIC Insurance.
CIC imasunga lonjezo.
To achieve great things in life, you must do little things every day, like the 1, 2, 3 with Colgate.
Sweet smile through your day with a fresh breath and
Colgate and give yourself a future to smile about.
Welcome back. I'm Philip Ketan Costa. The headlines once again. Government says at least 206 motorcycle operators have died on the road this year alone. MCTU organizes demos this Thursday in the push to stop President Chakwera from assenting to a labor relations bill. Malawi and Zimbabwe signed a memorandum of understanding aimed at enhancing trade between the two nations. And Tobacco Commission says this year's tobacco markets will close month-end. As we continue, Malawi and Zimbabwe have signed a memorandum of understanding aimed at enhancing trade between the two nations. During the event held in Lilongwe, Minister of Trade Sosten Gwengwe emphasized on the need for the two countries to strengthen their trade partnerships to succeed on economic growth. The signing of the MOU was followed by an exhibition of various products by Malawian as well as Zimbabwean traders. We have a report fired by Winston Kaimira.
The signing of the Memorandum of Understanding comes in as the two nations are working towards having a strong trade relationship. Minister of Trade Sosten Gwengwe said during the event that Malawi and Zimbabwe need to have trade activities that can assist improving their economies. He said Malawi can benefit through areas such as the exportation of agricultural products to Zimbabwe. Gwengwe further said trade agreement between Malawi and Zimbabwe, which was signed in 1995, needs to be reviewed to match with the current trends.
We are largely a trading nation. We are not a white-collar job nation. Our economy is built on how good our people trade amongst themselves or amongst our cross-border partners. So we would want to encourage and deepen our trading relations and even investment relations with our neighbors, even as we look at Africa as a continent.
Zimbabwe ambassador to Malawi, Dr. Nancy Saungweme, says the agreement will assist cross-border traders, especially women who travel between the two nations.
There are a lot of Malawians in Zimbabwe, there are a lot of Zimbabweans in Malawi. So we have to exchange whatever business we are doing between the two countries. There are so many areas, mining or whatever.
Meanwhile, a trade exhibition which will involve about 30 traders from Zimbabwe and some from Malawi is underway in Lilongwe. Winston Kaimira reporting for Zodiak.
The district council in Balaka wants to step up irrigation farming as a solution to food insecurity that has affected many households over the past decade. Balaka District Commissioner MacLeod Kadamanja observes that food insecurity in the district is due to perennial dry spells and floods, among other climate change challenges. Kadamanja made the call when Find Your Fit, a non-governmental organization, commissioned a 28 million kwacha solar-powered irrigation scheme in the district. Moses Masie reports from Balaka.
According to Balaka District Commissioner MacLeod Kadamanja, irrigation is part of the district development plans and reforms agenda. He commended Find Your Fit for supporting two schemes with solar power irrigation technology and asked other well-wishers to come in as one way of addressing food insecurity in the district.
In our district development plan as well as in our reforms agenda, we are also encouraging the communities to make sure that they embark on irrigation farming. So we will take this seriously because at the end of the day, these people who have sufficient food and will also mitigate the effects of hunger.
Find Your Fit Executive Director Melina Ntonga says the 28 million kwacha support on Toji irrigation scheme alone, which is the second in Balaka, has been possible with support from the World Food Programme WFP and the Integrated Resilience Project.
And the rain-fed agriculture is not working. We are experiencing low production. That's why we decided to kind of, establish the solar powered irrigation schemes so that they are able to produce maybe 3 times a year, so that whatever they are producing from the solar powered irrigation scheme is supplementing they then fed the agriculture.
Toji irrigation scheme currently cultivates about 2.5 hectares of the total 4 hectares they have. For Zodiac, this is Moses Masie.
The Tobacco Commission says this year's tobacco markets will close this month and beginning with Limbi auction flows. TC Executive Director Dr. Joseph Chidanti Malunga says that 3 months into the market, Malawi has traded about 94 million kilograms of tobacco, 26 million kilograms lower than the 120 million kilograms that was estimated to be presented to the market. He said the country has so far raked in $155 million, approximately 124 billion kwacha from the market. Andrew Viano has filed a report.
President Lazarus Chakwera opened this year's tobacco season at Longo auction floors. 3 months into the market, the Green Gold Regulator Tobacco Commission (TC) says Malawi has traded 94 million kilograms of all types of tobacco, raking in 124 billion kwacha at an average price of $1.64. The volume of tobacco traded this far is 26 million kilograms from the projected 120 million kilograms. TC Chief Executive Officer Dr. Joseph Chidanti Malunga says they will close the market in a few weeks' time and that Limbe auction flows will be the first. Dr. Chidanti Malunga has, however, decried what he called failure by farmers to benefit from the market despite registering better prices.
Growers are not getting the proper profit margins as we should have wished, but all this is probably because of other factors which we are trying to rectify as a commission.
Tama Trust Chief Executive Officer
a loan of the basic requirements, and we reduce on the loan, and then maybe we get an assurance of a better net for the grower after the sales.
Meanwhile, economic expert Miliwa Tobiasi says the amount of money raked in this far from sales of tobacco is a clear indication that the country needs to diversify the crop with others to supplement the foreign earnings for the country.
President, when he was opening the tobacco market for this year, mentioned this. In my view, he was really solid. But and he gave clear instructions to the relevant ministry. The budget that has just been passed has nothing of the sort that the president said. The future of tobacco, this we must begin to forget.
In the 2019-2020 farming season, Malawi sold 113 million kilograms of all types of tobacco, realizing $174 million, approximately 130 billion kwacha. 130 billion kwacha. 130 billion kwacha. 130 billion kwacha.
Apologies for the technical glitch inside the report. And that's about what we had time for in this news edition. But before you go, a look at the headlines. Government says at least 206 motorcycle operators have died on the road this year alone. MCT organizes demos this Thursday in the push to stop President Chakwera from assenting to a labor relations bill. Malawi and Zimbabwe sign a memorandum of understanding aimed at enhancing trade between the two nations. And Tobacco Commission says this year's tobacco markets will close this month end. Visit our website zodiacmalawi.com for more news. My name is Philip Keitaunda Costa. Thanks for watching.